Welcome back to another episode of 40 Facts About the 40K Universe. I am your host, Gershwin, and you are watching One Mind Syndicate. Today we continue talking about the creatures of Warhammer 40K as we get into the Crotalid. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. We post Warhammer 40K content every single day, and if you have any suggestions, just comment down below. But with that said, let's get into 40 facts on the Crotalid. A crotalid is a large, semi-aquatic carnivore found throughout the human-settled galaxy that prefers to live in and around tropical and subtropical rivers. They are dangerous reptile beasts with long, scaly bodies carried on stubby, powerful legs, capable of driving them forward with surprising bursts of speeds over short distances. A long, thin tail drags behind the creature on land, leaving distinctive tracks, but in the water, a crotalid propels its whole body with powerful flicks of its tail. The crotalid's head is dominated by a ferocious jaw, filled with serrated rows of triangular teeth. These teeth never stop growing throughout the crotalid's life. The crotalid's feeding grounds can be easily identified by the gnawed rocks and tree trunks found in the vicinity. Despite this, instances have been reported of dead crotalids were killed by their teeth growing so long that they finally pierced the creature's own tiny brains. Aside from such examples of autophagia, crotalids are protected by thick scales and a rudimentary nervous system that makes them extremely difficult to kill outright. Once injured or exposed to the scent of blood, crotalids enter a kind of feeding frenzy which overrides any kind of pain or fear response, sending them into a berserker attack of thrashing limbs and snapping jaws. Crotalids are primarily ambush predators, feeding on fish, other aquatic animals, and wildlife drinking at the water's edge. Crotalids favor attacking from submerged locations and clamping their formidable jaws onto a victim before they have a chance to react, but they will also pursue prey a short distance out of the water, dragging it back to their aquatic home at the first opportunity. Crotalids are also opportunistic and will quickly investigate any disturbance in the water, especially kills by other crotalids, in hopes of snatching a mouthful or two for themselves in the resulting frenzy. A full-grown crotalid could easily overwhelm a man and can even give a space marine a difficult fight. Unfortunately, crotalids often appear in large numbers, quickly making their way to the top of the food chain and completely dominating the area they inhabit. As such, any encounter with one crotalid means that several more will soon arrive, and in the heavily infested area, dozens can appear in a moment. Crotalids in captivity have lived over 70 Terran years, but Adeptus Mechanicus, Magi, biologists, xenologists have been unable to determine the lifespan of crotalids in the wild. This is due to their curious migratory habits, which are at best determined unique in the known galaxy. As a rapidly expanding population of crotalids comes to dominate a region, their prey is completely exhausted in the course of a few standard decades. The crotalid population must now migrate to a new location or face extinction, and the creature instinctively gathers in response to their growing hunger. At some undetermined point, the unconscious desire of the crotalids enables them to move on, not by walking or swimming, but by passing through the immaterium itself. How crotalids perform this feat is still unknown, as autopsies have revealed no organ or abnormality that might give the beast the ability to pass through the warp. Certainly, no conscious manipulation of the process seems available to the crotalids themselves, as they can appear on worlds quite unsuited for them, including desert planets and even airless worlds. Nonetheless, migratory packs of crotalids can appear on worlds up to 10 light-years from their original point, and have been highly successful in establishing themselves in new environments through their apparent hit-and-miss process. Crotalids have been found all over the galaxy, but the densest concentration of sightings are clustered around the death world of Lost Hope. Tracking migratory packs has proven impossible, as has keeping more than 3 crotalids together in captivity. However, it appears that once a population migrates, it will not do so again for several standard decades, for the impetus seems to be driven by population pressure. Although observations of this phenomena is limited to finding evidence of failed migrations, Crotalids appearing on a world poorly suited to them do not seem to be able to move on to greener pastures, using this remarkable trait. For some, this reinforces the prevalent theory that the Crotalid's ability is not consciously used, but an instinctual response to environmental pressures. A typical migratory pack comprises anywhere up to 100 or more fully grown Crotalids and can cause considerable damage. When they arrive in a new hunting ground, Crotalids are extremely aggressive and will attack anything in sight to establish their dominance. Frontier colonies have been all but wiped out by such unexpected appearances, with livestock and outlying farms paying the highest price in a sudden invasion by large carnivorous reptiles. The pleasure world of Kolinica was entirely ravaged by large numbers of Crotalids, multiplying in its picturesque river deltas, to the point where they threaten high-born pleasure seekers on the beaches. Conversely, some Crotalid populations are actively hunted or even farmed on certain worlds. Crotalid meat is tough and unappetizing, but their hides and teeth have some value. Hunting Crotalids for sport has some notoriety among the high society, but it is more commonly preserved for the desperate men. Bait and traps are the clever way to kill a Crotalid, preferably by getting it out of the water first. And those were 40 facts on the Crotalid. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Now, as I was reading the lore, two things came to me. The first was, is the Crotalid the final evolution of a crocodile? I say that because I have a theory that a crocodile developed psychic abilities and then was able to move away from Terra. Now, the lore doesn't specifically say that Crotalids came from a certain homeworld. They do say that there's a huge concentration of them on the death world of Lost Hope, but they don't give them an actual homeworld. And even if they did, how could you say for certain that that's the homeworld that they came from if they can just jump through the warp and go from planet to planet? Now, the reason that this came to my mind is because during the Dark Age of technology, this is the time period when humanity was spreading throughout the galaxy. Psychic abilities weren't really developed yet. It wasn't until right before the start of the Age of Strife that psychers started to appear in humanity. What if that happened to other creatures that lived with humanity? So you had Terra. And on Terra, of course, a bunch of, you still had dogs, cats, and I'm pretty sure you still had crocodiles and alligators, because crocodiles and alligators, they've been here since the days of the dinosaurs, and they still have survived. So even though the ecosystems of the world, or of Terra, of Earth, probably have changed dramatically during the golden age of technology, I'm pretty sure that those creatures still exist. They might look a lot different than what they currently do now, but maybe it was the crocodile species or the alligator species that developed some type of psychic ability, just like humans started to develop psychic abilities. And those psychic abilities allowed them to go into the immaterium and appear on different worlds, which would explain why Crotalids, they seem very animalistic, but at the same time, it's just like a natural thing that comes from them. Kind of like orcs, which is another thing that I started thinking about. If these guys aren't from Terra, if the Crotalid is not the descendant of crocodile, then could it be that the Crotalid, having the ability to just manipulate the immaterium subconsciously and in a group setting, could that have been a piece of DNA or a piece of information that the old ones actually took and manipulated to create the orcs? Because the orcs kind of have the same thing where they manipulate the warp subconsciously to the point where if you get a huge concentration of orcs, you have the green tide, and then you have all that psychic ability of the Wa psychic ability. it doesn't let them, jump through the immaterium or whatever, but it does manipulate the warp in the sense of if an orc thinks something's red, it goes faster, things like that. So could the old ones have taken DNA from the Crotalids and used that in their manipulation of creating the orc race or the Krork race back then? That would mean, of course, that the Crotalids have been around for years. 60 billion years was the old one's age, or was it 60 million years? It's probably 60 million years. But yeah, comment down below. Did you guys like those theories? And if you guys have anything to add, just comment down below. Now, of course, we have Patreon exclusive videos, so if you want to support us a little bit more, jump on over to Patreon. A simple $1 a month helps us create more videos for you guys. If you can't, we understand. Simply by liking, commenting, and sharing, it helps out the channel. And hitting the little bell notification icon right next to subscribe really helps out too. But thanks for everything, guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. This was Gershwin with One Mind Syndicate signing out.